Hey, before we jump into the video, just like to let you guys know that this video was recorded a while ago, and I kind of scrapped it, but then I showed it to a friend, and he was like, hey, why don't you just post it? You spent all this time working on it, you might as well post it. I wanted to scrap it because I feel like Neza wasn't very interesting, like his perspective wasn't very interesting. But I do think the story involved with Neza is pretty interesting. There's not going to be a ton of clips for me to show you guys of in-game things happening, but I do think the story of Neza is very interesting, and I love this god, and I'm just so happy that he's back in Smite 2. So I hope that you guys still enjoy the video anyways. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fantastic day, and enjoy the rest of the video. Hey, how's it going? My name is Safe, and as of today, right now, as long as I upload this video on time, Neza is out, ready to be played, and I thought, what better way to celebrate Neza being released to Smite 2 than by talking about his history in the Smite Pro League. I love Neza. He's one of my favorite gods in the game. One of my most wanted gods for Smite 2, and I'm so excited to try him out. I'm going to be trying him out on stream later today. I'm personally curious how good Neza really was throughout all of the Smite Pro League, because I honestly don't really remember how much he was played. I felt like he got played quite a bit, and he got played in a couple different roles, like support and jungle. And before we jump into it, I do have a little fun fact today about Neza. Neza was the first god that they added to Smite with basic attack progression, where the basic attacks get stronger over time, or like they have their own flow. Neza was the first god to have that, which is crazy. Anyways, let's jump into season 1, and we're not going to be here for very long, because for the first time in this series, Season 1 is a drought. Neza's been in the game for a very, very long time, but he was not played a single time in Season 1 of the Smite Pro League, Smite World Championships. Gods like Nemesis, Ao Kuang, Thor, and Surkat were being picked. You know the drill. No Neza this time. This is kind of new to me, so let's just jump into Season 2. And a little into Season 2, I'm thinking we're going to have a repeat here. There's a lot of Fenrir, Thor, Hunbats, but no Neza. But finally, in Game 2 of the semifinals in Paradigm versus Enemy, Neza is actually picked by Cubo Fred. He didn't have a bad game, but it wasn't anything flashy. Pretty low energy loss to Team Enemy. Adapting is the next player to pick Neza, doing so against Cloud9. He had a pretty good game on it in a win against Barracuda and the Cloud9 guys. That would, however, be the last time Neza is picked this year. He looked pretty strong in the 2 games that he's picked. I'm going to be showing clips intermittently throughout this video. He looked pretty strong, but gods like Hunbats and Thor are just really, really strong right now. And I think the problem with Neza is he's a little too inconsistent and takes a little longer to get his damage off. And I think that's going to be a pattern going on throughout all the Smite World Championships. I think now is a time in Season 3 where we see a lot more Neza from what I remember. And the next few years, I believe Neza's played a lot more. At least this is when I started playing the game, and I really like playing Neza. I don't know how it actually was working before I started watching these. I've also noticed in my research of the first 3 worlds, Neza has yet to even be banned. He's gotten picked twice, no bans yet. But in Season 3, if you remember, Ratatasker is picked a lot here. Ratatasker kind of does a lot of what Neza does in terms of being a tankier jungler, I guess. So it kind of makes sense that I'm all the way through semifinals and I've seen no Neza. And maybe I was a little too optimistic. Maybe I spoke too soon. Because in Season 3, Neza isn't picked again, not a single time. I was not expecting this going into it, and this is not the last time that this is going to happen. I did not expect Neza to have so many droughts, but we're going to get into why that is later in the video. Why people were not picking Neza during certain years. Season 3, we know that that is a season riddled with Thor, Surkat, and Ratatasker. A very, very strong gods just taking over what Neza might want to do. But going into Season 4, I'm having a little bit of hope because I do remember that he does get picked eventually. I don't know when that is, but eventually. There's a lot of warrior jungles being played during Season 4, and I thought Neza would be pretty decent into that, being able to take them out of fights. And finally, Neza is selected by Mask for Team Luminosity against NRG. I was only happy for the beginning of the game whenever he got locked in, because this was not a good game for Mr. Mask. I'm just glad Neza is here. And it was the last game that Neza was picked for. I was just glad to see Neza picked once in Season 4. That's Season 1, not picked once. Season 2, 2 games. Season 3, not picked. Season 4, 1 game. Like, it's crazy. I was not expecting this at all going into it. No, I know this is going to be a pretty short video, but going into Season 5, I was completely losing hope. I thought it was over, but Neza was picked in the first game of Dignitas versus Space Station Gaming. This is when we get into the Neza support era, as Trix Tanks is the one to pull him out. Trix Tanks was off to a pretty slow start, pulls off a crazy bait play that wins his team a huge fight, which later leads them into winning a game.
Self-sustained from...
See Dignitas just pull the trigger and go for the fire giant. Instead, they're going to walk into the enemy jungle. Here comes Jeff with the ultimate of his own. He's going to die to the hand of Trix Tank. That's kill number 8. Dignitas still funneling in as Aquarius trying to make a play on Variety, and Barracuda gets him. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Andy's going to fall down. Aqua from the backside gets the kill.
Aqua needs to make something happen, but Venenu is feeling it from zeros. Aqua goes down. Cubo Fred with that kill. A 1-for-3, and Dignitas are poised to get their second fire giant.
It's funny to mention that he also had more player damage than his solo laner and jungler, and more tthan SSG's mid laner Venenu. Neza is finally picked again. 2 times in 1 season, I can't believe it. He's picked by Sino in game 1 of Splice versus Obey. And this was probably the greatest solo effort I've seen in my research. I knew that we would get to watching the GOAT of Neza soon, but this game was insane.
He can Sino thinking he can find Ataraxia in the jungle here. Follow the pooch because it'll lead you home. Or not for the sake of Obey, but for the sake of Splice. Sino gets Ataraxia, now Zalia in trouble too. The ghosts are out from Prime, but does he have the damage?
Moswall getting lower, big burst coming out of Prime, and he does take down Moswall. But here comes the rest of Splice, Divios and Sino ready to go again.
Prime trying to get back to the tier 2, and Raph is just trying to cause some problems. If they dive this, Rapha may have to help out. There's the Ragnarok. He picks up a Raw who's tanking. Big shield for Divios though, and Prime is still gonna fall down. Out of the tier 2 they fall. Divios' shield there was beautiful.
Just look at the slash line and player damage. For some reason that no one in the world will ever understand, they let Sino get Neza again immediately after. He had a great game again and an easy win for Splice. I think people realize they can't just give Sino Neza because Dignitas is the next to play against him, and they ban him away immediately. Trix Tanks, however, goes back to Neza in game 3 of Dig versus Splice, and honestly, it was a pretty bad game that led to a loss. But Splice was just different this year. I mean, what can you say? Sino then goes back to Neza in game 2 of the finals versus Rival. Despite being off to a slow start, it was an insane and impressive Neza game. Oh, as all of his games have been so far. He went back to it again the next game, and just look at this. Just look at it.
Synergy.
Can I say, can we just step out, look at the big picture here? Sino's 5-0-4 and top player damage on Naja, and no one should give it to him ever.
They didn't let Sino get it back afterwards. Ice Ice Baby would be the one who picked it next. And he also had a great game on it. Damn, dude. It's actually sick. I love watching Neza. So many Neza games, and it's been so fun to watch. I love watching this god. That would be the last time that he's picked in Season 5, but that was an amazing season. It made me so much more excited to play Neza when he actually comes out to Smite 2. I forgot how crazy Sino is on Neza. It's actually ridiculous. It's so fun to watch. I recommend everybody go back and watch like Season 5 Splice games just to see Sino play. In Season 6, I feel like I remember Neza showing up from now on in the SPL relatively consistently. We know from prior videos that I've made that a lot of Erlong and other warriors are played. Ratatasker and Camazotz have also been very strong during this time period, so we'll see about that. Let me just cut to the chase here. We go from the top of the mountain to the very bottom this year. Neza isn't picked a single time. I hate to say it. Neza is not picked a single time in Season 6. There's just nothing to talk about. So let's move on to Season 7 and forget that that happened. I have no idea what to think. It inspires a little bit of hope that he will be played because he was getting relatively consistent bans last year. But how have we gone through so many years of Neza not even being played? At this point in time, I was thinking that this was a bad video idea, even though I'm so excited for this god, and I just want to talk about this god. But Sino did pick Neza in the first game of Obey versus Sanguine in Season 7 Worlds. And thank the Lord. Thanks you so much for Sino. Sadly, it wasn't a great game, but Sino did have a second chance to Shino. Come on, come on. When he picked it again in game 3, and I feel bad that I can't show you anything, but it was another bad game. No clips to show you. Maybe I'll throw in another Season 5 clip right here. If I can find one. There weren't a lot, to be honest. There's just nothing of note to show from the Neza's perspective. There's a lot of Erlong this year, and it's kind of sad to think about, but I haven't seen any Neza bans so far. Rat is also still getting played a lot this year. Finally, though, Neza is back in the game. Being played in game 3 of Renegades versus Sanguine in the hands of Awesome Jake in the support role. They even said on the cast they didn't think Neza would be picked at all this year.
On to a game 5 here in this set. I don't imagine Kivo Fred. Oh, you have something.
Yeah, do you mind if I blow you up real quick?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, Aggro and Dave and I were participating in some play tests recently. And me and Aggro got into an in-depth conversation on why Naja isn't so good right now. And it essentially boiled down to the ultimate is so reactable that even Dave was reaction beadsing it on cooldown. These are SPL players, man. I don't think Windfire Wheels is going to connect.
That's true. Then you know what? That means I'm skilled. It's such a hard ultimate to react to. You should have seen my insta beats every single time.
You actually had Aggro mega tilted. He came out there. He's like, man, we gotta buff this god.
It's really the worst of days. Even if it wasn't a flashy performance, Awesome Jake 408 did have a pretty good game on the Neza, leading his team to a win and a 3 over Sanguine. Watching all the games this year, and like the last year, maybe the casters are right to think it was weird to pick Neza. A lot of easier, more impactful gods like Kamazots, Ratatasker, Hunbats, Ravana were being played. I think they just take precedent over Neza when Neza is a much more you gotta be on your shit to have good games type of god, especially against like good players. You're never gonna just raw ult a good player. Like a pro is not gonna get raw ulted. They're just gonna fucking beads you and insta kill you before you can do anything. And that would be the last time that Neza is picked in Season 7. It's kind of why I try to change the subject a little bit before we jump into Season 8. But the casters did have a good point, man. It's hard to say that Neza should be picked over a lot of these other gods. So going into Season 8, we only have a few years left. And Neza really only showed up going crazy in Season 5. Is this the year he can make a big impact again? There's a ton of Kamazots being played. I love to see that because he's my personal favorite god, probably. Scream did pick Neza in Game 2 of the Warriors versus the Scarabs. And despite doing decent in terms of fight impact, it just couldn't make anything happen against the Warriors. And the desk is just shitting on Neza right now. Just listen to this clip.
Early on. I think if they take Naja here, that's pretty wild. That's so crazy. Because that means they think that the Oni Warriors would have banned it, but you could have even saved it for the next phase. It just feels like if you are going for
Naja.
Naja.
Playing Naja?
No, 0% chance.
I don't think they're picking Naja for Cubo.
And I'm not even certain that the Oni Warriors are banning Naja, right? And even if they are worried about a Naja ban, they could have taken it in that 3rd pick selection. The Solar Scarabs have plenty of priority out there that could have been taken. But with the Oni Warriors going for flavor picks themselves, I guess you're not losing too much value.
And they're kind of right. It makes sense why we haven't seen much Neza. It's a sad truth given how awesome this god is. And here's a clip to show it because Scream was going crazy and he did it again in Game 5. It wasn't as flashy, but he was playing very strongly to lead his team to another win.
It's turning into whichever mid laner dies first loses because neither of these two mid laners have died and they've both played pretty effectively so far this series. Darnez! Oh no, Caster Curse! Darnez is dead! And now Nika surrounded by 5. Nika getting whittled down but gets a bit of health back. Fire Giant very low, goes the way of the Scarabs, the enhanced version. Cubo Fred into the pit, but juked away with the dash by Stewart. Into the Windfire Wheels from Scream. The up down's good, but it's not enough for a kill. And now the Scarabs have got the confidence. Now the Scarabs have got a 2-man advantage.
There's a lot of Fenrir, a lot of Kamazots, a lot of Gilgamesh. Cleo also gets played a lot. Still though, Neza isn't even getting banned anymore. pretty self-explanatory and obvious. I feel like obviously Hunbats and the junglers I listed before are taking spots away from Neza, kind of for what I was saying before. And after watching basically the entirety of the tournament, Neza is finally picked again in Game 3 of the Kings versus Leviathans. Neza is finally getting a little bit of respect, being banned every single game by the Leviathans against the Scarabs, probably because of Scream. And Neza is picked finally again in Game 3 of the Kings versus Leviathans. I don't have the name of who picked him for some reason, but they had a pretty good game on it. Good enough where it got banned throughout the rest of the set. And that would be the last time that he's picked this year as well. Neza was able to show up and show out a little this year. Anything to make me not completely lose hope on this god is good. For me, I mean, I love to see it. Jumping straight into Season 9. I know Susano and Lancelot were very strong here, but we do see Neza banned in the first game of the tournament. Cuvo would be the first one in Season 9 to pick Neza in Game 1 of the Warriors versus the Shabalba Storm, I believe is how you say that. It wasn't a crazy game. There's a thing with these games, like I said I wanted to show you guys clips intermittently, but Neza is not a very flashy god. He doesn't really go in and kill the entire team. He usually is there to take people out of fights and get a lot of poke damage off, and sometimes burst down one person. Cuvo liked the Neza so much that he went back to it in Game 2, and it was an easy GG again. He had a great game on Neza twice in a row. Sam for Soccer is the next to pick Neza against Hex Mambo, and to be honest, he did absolutely nothing this game. It was bad. Oath, however, picks Neza for the Hounds against the Titans, and he also didn't do anything. He couldn't get anything going for his team in a loss. Neza has been banned nearly every single game this year, by the way. I love to see that. Cuvo picks it again for the third time this year against Hex Mambo, and he again had a pretty good game on it, leading his team to a win. Because of that, Neza was banned for the rest of the set. Cuvo Fred, surprise, surprise, picks Neza again in Game 3 against the Scarabs, and he got shut down early, having a pretty bad game. He's batting pretty well, you know, 3 for 4 so far of good games. And I think he noticed that the early game was bad, and that was why he couldn't do anything, because he picked it again in Game 4, and he had a pretty great game, leading his team to a comfortable, sizable victory. And Neza just gets banned every single game after this. Scream gets to pick him in Game 2 against the Titans. He had a pretty good game on it. The Titans have to take it away. First pick in the next game, back to the GOAT of the gods, Sino. And he had a very controlled game on the pick. Not amazing, but facilitated his team extremely well. Sino would pick it again in Game 4, and this was just an insane game. Sino couldn't get anything going. The Dragons just have plot armor. Go watch that game. Please go watch that game, Game 4. Yeah, please go watch that game. That's one of the craziest games I've ever seen. Just like the domination is just insane. You should watch it. It's an amazing game. But that would be the last time that Neza is picked this year, and it was nice. It was nice, dude. He gets played a lot. He gets banned almost every single game. He got banned or picked every game. You know, it took all the way to Season 9 for that to happen. And now we're leading into Season 10. It's kind of funny to think that, like, a season ago, the casters were actively shitting on people for picking Neza. And then he's picked and banned in every single game the next year. I mean, it just goes to show that Smite is an ever-evolving game that's constantly changing, and gods flow in and out of the meta. But let's jump into Season 10, the final season of the Smite World Championships. And leading into it, I didn't really remember if Neza's played that much this year. Outside of doing research for these videos, I didn't watch Season 10 Worlds. This is kind of when I was done with Smite in terms of like watching Smite Pro. A bit into the World Championships, Neza is getting banned every now and again, but no picks so far. Neza was hovered for a second in Game 1 of the Wardens versus the Kings, but not selected. At least they're thinking about it, I guess. I'm starting to think we won't see any Neza. I think Lancelot probably just does what Neza can do better. And when they want gods that can take people out of fights a little bit more, they'd rather pick somebody who can just straight up kill them, like a Wheelix and Susano. When tankier gods are picked, it's Camazotz and Thor or Lancelot, like I said again. Gilgamesh is also being played a lot. Actual damage gods, though, are being focused on way more in Season 10, like a lot of Susanoo, like I had said before. I hate to say it. There is no Neza this year. No Neza in Season 10. And it's kind of a pattern, man. Season 4, it was nothing. Season 5 was the peak of the god. And then Season 6 was nothing again. And now we had Season 9, which was the second peak of the god. And then Season 10 is just not picked. But it is worth mentioning that Neza was getting banned, and it had respect on Neza because people were hovering it, and it was getting banned. It wasn't a laughingstock pick like it was in Season 7. But as for closing thoughts, honestly, I did not think that this was how this was going to go. I hope that this still makes a video. I guess we'll find out once I edit it and post it, but I just love Neza, man, and I really wanted to talk about Neza. I didn't think that there would be so little to talk about. I don't know why I thought Neza was picked all the time. Maybe it's just because I'm so biased and I love that god, and it's one of my most played gods in the game, but to be honest, this experience made me realize why this god might not actually be that great. I understood everything that the casters were saying. Unless the team comps desire a Neza, or the meta is in Neza's favor strongly, I get why you would want to pick a Lancelot. I get why you would want to pick Thor. I get why you want to pick Serket over Neza. And in the Hunbats video, if you remember, go watch that, please. It's I worked very hard on it too. We came to the conclusion that Hunbats was really only picked by the people that really loved Hunbats, and that goes triply so for Neza. I think I only mentioned maybe 6 individual people that picked Neza throughout all of the Smite World Championships. If Neza was getting picked, it was either Sino, Cuvo Fred, or I think Scream picked him like 3 times. Not a ton of people really tried him out throughout the course of Smite. And I thought that he was played a lot more in support, and I think he was only played twice by Trixtank and Awesome Jake, which is crazy. I thought that he was picked a ton more. This does make me really hope that Neza has a prominent part in Smite 2. I guess we will time will only tell because he just came out today. Hopefully the upcoming tournaments for that will have more Neza being played in Smite 2. I love playing him and watching him. And I, for one, am very excited to spam pick this all day today on stream. And I will be doing that on stream all day today. Whenever it is that I do stream, I'm going to stream at some point. Hopefully this video will be out by then. But yeah, man, that's the history of Neza in Smite Pro League. He was an underdog for sure. There are some great seasons. Season 9, Season 5 really made all of it worth it. Season 8 was okay as well. There were a lot of droughts. And it kind of sucks. Hopefully the next god that we do this for won't have the same problem. If you guys have any gods that you want to see me talk about, the full history of their Smite professional history, put your suggestions in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Check me out on stream. I stream every single day, and I'm going to be streaming probably 10 hours every day from now on. I've been grinding to deity, so go check that out. It's been pretty fun. Subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. Have a fantastic day. Keep grinding Smite. Don't forget about Smite. Adios, guys.